Hello guys, welcome to the CSS crash course. In this video, we will learn about the CSS transition property. My name is Kafui and welcome to my channel mods.dev. Please subscribe, like and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. With that said, let's get started. The CSS transition property is used to create a smooth transition effect when a specified value changes. So in my index.html file here, I have this button element defined, and then in my style.css file, I selected the button element and then applied some styles to it, and then on the hover 0 class, I apply some styles to it. So when I go ahead and then hover over my button, you see that it's transitioning to these styles that I have specified here. So now when I hover over it, you see that this transition happens immediately. So we want to look at how we can use the CSS transition property to apply a smooth transition to this button element. So the first property we'll look at is called the transition property. So I'll just go ahead and write transition property, and then the transition property specifies the name of the CSS property to which the transition should be applied. So for starters, we'll apply the transition to the background color. So I'll just write background color. So when I do that and save and I go back and hover over it, we see that nothing happens because you have to specify the duration of the transition using the transition duration property. So I'll just write transition duration, and then I'll click on this to select this from the auto completion. Then we can specify the duration in either seconds or milliseconds. So I'll just say 1 second and save. So when I go back and then hover over this button again, you see how this transitions to what? This background color. So I'll go back. So when I go back and then hover over it again, I hope you can see this nice or smooth transition effect happening here. So let's go ahead and look at other transition properties. The next one we'll talk about is the transition timing function property. This describes the speed curve of the transition effect. So I'll just go ahead and say transition timing function, and then so VS Code gives us auto completion of some of the values that we can specify. We can define our own custom timing function using this cubic Bezier curve function here, or we can apply or set it to this value is in, out, is out, and then linear. So I'll just write linear, and then when I do that and save, and I'll go back and hover over it, you see that nice transition effect happening. So I can change this to, let's say, is in, and when I do that and save and go ahead and hover over it, we see that nice transition there. I'll just go ahead and change it back to linear and save. Now the next property we'll look at is the transition delay property. This is an optional property that specifies the delay before the transition effect starts. So I'll just go ahead and write transition delay, and then let me just specify a delay of, let's say, 3 seconds so that we can see it in effect. So when I go back and then hover over this, so we see that the transition doesn't occur until 3 seconds passes, and then we see our transition coming in. So this is an optional property, so I'll just go ahead and then comment it out. I don't need it. Now one thing we can do is we have the transition shorthand property that we can use. So I can say transition, and then I'll specify the background color as the property I want to transition, and then my timing, my duration, which is 1 second, and then my timing function, which is linear. When I do that and save and go back and hover over this, we get the same effect. Now let's say I want to transition the color of the text. So you see that when I hover over it, you see that the color also changes quickly. It doesn't transition. So how do we transition the color to? So using comma, I can specify a transition for the color property. So I'll just write color, and then I'll say the color should occur over, let's say, 2 seconds so that we can see the effect, and then I'll use is in here. When I do that and save and go back and then hover over it, you see that the color also transitions over 2 seconds. And then I can go ahead and then transition the background color to prevent it from what happening immediately, and by using this comma and then writing border radius quickly, and then I'll apply some transition. Let's say I want this one should happen over, let's say, 4 seconds, and then I'll use linear here again. When I do that and save and then go back and hover over the button, you see that the background color, the border radius doesn't transition until over what, 4 seconds. So this is how we can transition multiple properties, but we can use the or keyword. So I'll just comment this out. I'll comment the entire this out, and then count down here and write transition, then using the or, so it means all the properties we want to transition, all the properties here. So I'll go ahead and then specify over 1 second, and then I'll use linear here. I'll not specify any delay. So when I go ahead and then hover over the button, you see that the transition effect is being applied. So this is how we can apply transition to HTML elements in CSS. That's all for this video. If you have any questions, put them in the comment section for discussion. Please subscribe, like, and hit the bell icon to get notified whenever I release a content on the channel. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next one.